I feel the Spirit moving in me. I feel the Spirit moving in me.
Hafiz wrote, God was full of wine last night, so full of wine that he let a great secret slip. God said, there is no man on earth who needs a pardon from me, for there exists no sin. Then God said, think you, if people knew, they would live better lives? Hafiz said, I swear by the glow of the unseen, I am ready to shed my life if it will help anyone realize there is no sin. In Hafiz's poem, The Great Secret, God is a playful, humorous, mischievous force, not a stern judge, but a wine-loving spirit. His portrayal shakes up our usual ideas of the divine, yeah? Any of us brought up with the idea different than this? That God is a judgmental, condemning being, like is explained in the music. You know, God shares a great secret. There's no need for forgiveness, hinting that our rules might be part of the divine joke. All the rules that we create as human beings and blame them on God as if God's some controlling, demanding, patriarchal energy. Hafiz says, maybe that's not true. Maybe it's man that created those rules and not God. Hafiz says that God invites us to look at the humorous rules that man has created and how ridiculous they are. God's mischievousness is reflected in the way mankind has twisted this image in our minds. I think that Hafiz's willingness to share this perspective is liberating, don't you think? What if God was a beloved force that loved us entirely? It kind of says that in the margins somewhere in our biblical books, right? But the way that man has interpreted it and written it down, it sounds like God's some mean, controlling force that is watching you in your room at night when you're by yourself. And that's as far as I'll go with that one. But there's no need for forgiveness. Hafiz reminds us to experience a different, joyful, free, spiritual life. And God shows us a God, or Hafiz shows us a God, or God shows Hafiz, and Hafiz shows us that there is laughter, that we can have fun, that this life is a tapestry for us to be able to enjoy, not live in fear and condemnation. There's a message that Hafiz would say that God portrays to us, and that is, let joy be your compass. What if we saw life that way? What if joy was our compass? What if love was our compass? So I created some affirmations for this talk, a number of them, to kind of fit with each little poem that I'm going to read. And I like this one. This is in the style of Hafiz. It is, God and I chuckle over my mistakes, for they're the secret spice in the recipe of existence. Of course, with an affirmation, now we want to say that together because that's where it gets its power and helps us to free up some of these prejudices that we might have. So, you ready to say this together with me and to have some fun with it, right? Well, let's say it together. Together, God and I chuckle over my mistakes, for they're the secret spice in the recipe of existence. Hafiz was a 14th century Persian poet and mystic whose collected works are regarded as a pinnacle of Persian literature and mystic thought. He lived and wrote in the city of Shiraz, now which is modern-day Iran. In the Islamic culture of medieval Persia, it was considered blasphemous for a human to claim direct relationship, knowledge of the divine. So the Sufi poets, like Hafiz, had to cleverly veil their teachings in symbolism to avoid persecution. Hafiz used wine and taverns metaphorically. Drinking wine in Sufi poetry represents attaining divine intoxication, right? Being so much embraced in the freedom, in the truth, in the aliveness that it can feel intoxicating. Ever experience that? Ever have a divine truth? You know, I know when I discovered that God is love and really believe that and that God is everywhere, it changed my perspective on life. When I realized that, it's like, wow, that was like intoxicating to me. A belief that I've carried with me ever since. That's a powerful teaching. So Sufi poets like Hafiz had to clearly veil their teachings to avoid being put in jail. Drinking wine in Sufi poetry represents being one with the divine, being intoxicated with love. Ever felt that way? Ever been intoxicated by love? In essence, Hafiz's poems serve as a delightful reminder that in the heart of spirituality, a divine sense of humor must lie, encouraging us to live with more freedom, to live with more love, to live with more laughter. You hear that little voice saying, oh no, I don't know who that is. Oh no, right? I can't laugh at God, right? Oh, I can't think that God is funny. I have to be stern and strict, right? And like a believing in this part. We're taught that, believing in this condemning essence. The underlying theme in Hafiz's poetry is let joy be your compass. Let joy be the guiding factor. And Hafiz wrote, in the whole world, if the whole world were one big tavern, I'd be the happiest man in it. He's expressing his love of wine and his belief that it's a source of joy and happiness. But that's just on the surface. Because what he's really saying is that spiritual experience, that being in this sacred place of joy and feeling the joy of spirit is like a tavern in that it is intoxicating. And when we are in that place with like-minded people, with like-minded thoughts, then it changes our whole perspective and the way that we see and live our lives. In Sufi mysticism, the tavern is a symbol of the spiritual realm. It's where the seeker of truth finds that truth. It's that place in your life, in your consciousness, where you dwell in this fabulous place of love, of power, of life, of truth. And wine is seen as a metaphor for the divine love that intoxicates us, intoxicates our soul and leads to spiritual enlightenment. Getting drunk is a metaphor for the soul becoming intoxicated with spiritual wisdom. It's that place when we realize, oh, I can forgive. I don't have to be holding on to these thoughts of dislike or distaste, or get mad at somebody for coming late. I can let go of all that and welcome what is. Welcome. We saved these seats just for you. And we are drunk with happiness that you have arrived. Yes? So when Hafiz says he would be the happiest man in the world if the whole world were one big tavern, he's saying that he longs for a world where everyone is united in love, where everyone is experiencing the joy of spiritual intoxication, where there is so much love, where you look at each other and you feel that love for each other, and all the other stuff disappears. And you're able to be present and powerful and joyful. Doesn't that seem like what heaven would be like, right? To be in this place, to live in this place. And the truth of it is, this is the kingdom of heaven. Where you are, where we are, this is the kingdom of heaven right here. There could be a better place, but a lot of people think that this is it. I think this is it. We are here to celebrate and be intoxicated by love right here, right now. This is the kingdom right here. So, but even in his humor, Hafiz is making a serious point about the importance of humor and joy in life. And he's reminding us that we should strive for this joy. However, to avoid prosecution, as we said earlier, he had to mask his imagery in the message of drinking and wine. But the truth of it is that he knew that we are all expressions of love, that we are all expressions of the divine, and that the divine is within us. And as we are intoxicated by this truth of love, we enter that tavern. We enter that place of spiritual perfection. And again, Hafiz's message is let joy be your compass. So here's how Hafiz might have created an affirmation around all this. To say, in the grand tavern of life, I am the joyful spirit turning woes into whoopee cushions. Right? Are you brave enough to say that together? Because, if you declare this, it just might happen. Are you prepared for that? Or something similar? Two of you. All right, let's try it anyway and see what happens. Hafiz is working in this room, as we know right now. So let's have some fun with this. So let's say it together. In the grand tavern of life, I am a joyful spirit turning woes into whoopee cushions. Whoopee! Our dear friend Hafiz uses the language of duality, and if we listen to his language, it sounds like he's talking about God being separate from us, because he refers to God as the beloved. But as we know, this is part of his illusion, and I believe what he teaches is the presence of God is part of us. And he says something similar to this in this quote. He says, even after all this time, The sun never says to the earth, "You owe me." Look what happens with a love like that. It lights the whole sky. I think this quote beautifully illustrates Hafiz's perception of God as a benevolent and unconditional giver. Similar to how the sun provides light and life without ever expecting anything in return. His work is filled with such metaphors where the divine is seen not as a distant, demanding figure, but as an ever-present force that enriches life and the world around us. This is probably one of my favorite Hafiz quotes. You know, Hafiz found humor and wisdom in laughter, and in joy, and in creativity, and in viewing life as a delightful game in which God is continuously surprising us. His amazing poetry speaks to the human condition across all traditions. And it's still very popular today. So this, I love this quote. Oops. He wrote, "God and I have become like two giant fat people living in a tiny boat. We keep bumping into each other and laughing." Can you imagine? What if we saw life that way? What if we saw the fact that we're all in the same boat and we're sitting here and we're laughing and we're having a good time and we're bumping into each other because sometimes we get in each other's way. Sometimes we disagree with each other. Sometimes we get angry with each other. True for you? And what if we could just go, "Oh, here we go again. Oh, look at us bumping into each other. Oh, look at us having these funny thoughts about each other. Oh, look what you did. You didn't wash the dishes after you did. We had dinner last night. Oh, you didn't make the bed this morning when you got up. Isn't that great?" Instead of doing whatever else we might do. And he's just ignore it, right? But he's just saying, just imagine that we're just a couple of fat people. And he uses the image of a fat person, probably not very politically correct, but in those days, who cared? And it was really about just people enjoying life, living, in a sense, to the fullest. It's so great. And, to me, Hafiz is showing us that God is present even in the most ordinary and imperfect situations, that God is always there, that the beloved is always there. Wherever we are, the beloved is there. So you might know now, what is the beloved's assignment? To let joy be your compass. So here's an affirmation that I have for this story. With each joyful bump in life's tiny boat, I am cradled by God's laughter, a symphony of compassion that steers my heart. Let's say that together. Together, with each joyful bump in life's tiny boat, I am cradled by God's laughter, a symphony of compassion that steers my heart. All right, so Hafiz writes, "Last night, my beloved gave me a glass of wine, so potent that just a single drop made me dance with ecstasy. I was drunk for 12 hours and had to be carried home by the tavern owner. See how God plays games with us? giving the most delicious drink to this ragged beggar, while keeping scholars sober as judges. This to me is Hafiz is talking about that we all want a roadmap through life, right? Wouldn't it be great if there was a specific path that we knew that we could take to attain spiritual wisdom? Or wouldn't that be great if we knew that we turn left at the meditation and turn right at the affirmation and turn left at the scripture? But the truth, Hafiz is demonstrating, that there isn't really a highway. It's more like a dance floor. And Hafiz is nudging us to say to us, hey, loosen up. The divine doesn't always give you a roadmap. Hafiz is kind of like that cool uncle who says, knowledge is great, but have you tried intuition? He's telling us that God whispers, that the truth isn't necessarily in sacred text or hallowed halls, that the truth is in laughter with friends. It's in the rustling leaves. It's even in your morning coffee's aroma. It's not just about how much you know or how long you pray. The key is, how open is your heart? Imagine that God is a friend who surprises, one who doesn't just hand out truth in solemn messages, but also during a belly laugh. The image of God is a joyful giver who doesn't wait for us to be ready, but comes and gives us the truth when we least expect it. Hafiz, with his poetic genius, gives us a nudge and a wink that the spiritual journey is unpredictable as it is beautiful. And Hafiz says God's message from the beloved is to let joy be your compass. And the affirmation from this story is, I shall leave my door unlocked day and night, so the mischievous beloved may whisk me away at every moment, at any moment. Let's say that together. I shall leave my door unlocked day and night, so the mischievous beloved may whisk me away at any moment. Hafiz writes, last night, smoke filled my little kitchen. Flames licked the walls. My pot bubbled over, igniting the stove with a fearsome sizzle and pop. I deserted my burning dinner and ran out to the street. Come quick, bring buckets. But when the crowd arrived, pots calmly simmered. No sign of the fire remained. My face, as red as Hafiz's famous ruby wine. For only then did I recall that wondrous moment before, when I had leapt up and down for joy, having tasted delicious stew in a dream sent from the beloved's kitchen. So picture this. You're cooking up your life, following the recipe that you thought was foolproof. Then, whoosh, a kitchen fire. Imagine that Hafiz is chuckling in the corner, reminding us that life's unexpected flares are not accidents, but divine invitations to dance in the heat. Remember, even burnt toast has a story. This poem suggests that sometimes we need a little fire under our feet, or perhaps even in our kitchen, to stir things up. You know, it's not just about cooking, it's about transforming, kind of like a spiritual barbecue. The flames can char away the unnecessary, leaving us with juicy bits of wisdom. So grab your metaphorical apron. Imagine the divine as a mischievous chef, occasionally turning up the heat to test our recipes of life. Hafiz suggests that even in the midst of a culinary catastrophe, there's a lesson simmering. Maybe it's about resilience. Maybe it's about forgiveness. Maybe it's about not loving fully. But it's there to remind us to check the oven more often. In short, Hafiz's kitchen fire is a nudge to see life's chaotic moments as opportunities for growth, laughter, and maybe a little bit of divine mischief. So next time your kitchen catches fire, don't just reach for the extinguisher. Look for the lesson in the flames. And maybe keep a takeout menu handy just in case. So the beloved's assignment is, let joy be your compass. And the affirmation is, however crazy kitchen calamities appear, I'll stop and taste God's heavenly soup, flavoring the air. Let's say that together. However crazy kitchen calamities appear, I'll stop and taste God's heavenly soup, flavoring the air. The next poem is one of my favorites, titled "The Seed Cracked Open." And I'm sorry this is a little hard to read, but I'll read it to you. Hafiz writes, "It used to be that when I would wake up in the morning, I would, with confidence, say, 'What am I going to do?' That was before the seed cracked open. Now Hafiz is certain there are two of us housed in this body, doing the shopping together in the market and tickling each other as we fix the evening's food. Now when I awake, all the internal instruments play the same music. I ask, God, what love mischief can we do for the world today?" The Seed Cracked Open is more than a poem. It's a playful invitation from Hafiz. He's urging us to dance in the rain of life's mysteries, to laugh in the face of confusion, and high-five the divine in every moment. So let's embrace this cosmic comedy. After all, we're all seeds in the grand divine joke, cracking open to reveal our true, joyous selves. Let's play. Let's explore. Let's grow together in this beautiful playground called life. And that's how Hafiz, through the seed cracked open, turns our spiritual journey into a delightful romp in the cosmic playground. Remember, life's too mysterious to take it too seriously. So let's laugh, let's love, and let's grow with the divine. Hafiz, in his cheeky wisdom, shows us how God is less like a stern boss and more like a fun-loving friend who is always up for a laugh. Hafiz reminds us that God is our playful beloved. Hafiz reminds us that the divine is a mischievous pal. Hafiz reminds us to embrace surprise, embrace curiosity, and embrace playfulness, because life is God's playground. He invites us to question rigid beliefs and find our truth in the midst of them. Friends, may we hear Hafiz's message and say yes to the dance of life, ever ready for the beloved's joyful tricks and surprising wisdom. Let us laugh and walk lightly together on this spiritual adventure. And I invite you this week to look at what's happening in your life on your journey and consider letting go of rigid expectations. Be willing to find wisdom in unexpected places. Each day, try and find maybe 3 things that you can be joyful for each day. Maybe it's a tree swaying, a child giggling, or a sincere conversation. I invite you, when you wake up in the morning, and you sit up in your bed or you stand up next to your bed, to say, God, what love mischief can we do for the world today? God, let's say that together. God, what love mischief can we do for the world today? Oh, beloved, I tie my shoes with rainbow laces so you may trip me into your holy circus. Let's say that together. Oh, beloved, I tie my shoes with rainbow laces so you may trip me into your holy circus. I invite you to close your eyes. Breathing in, breathing out. And just kind of being with all of this poetry, with all these words. To recognize that you are the beloved. The beloved is you. You too. Sitting here this morning. You too. Going for lunch. You too. Embracing all of the moments of your life. Can you open yourself to the mischievous beloved? To embrace joy, happiness, love, peace? Is there some message that you can take into your life? Some tidbit of Hafiz's teachings? To open yourself to the presence of love that you are, to fully express your beingness, to express your love and your light. And I invite you just to rest for a moment in the silence and to give thanks, or to find a place of forgiveness, or to find a place of joy, to find a place of peace, to find a way that you can more fully express who you are. And let's rest for a moment in the silence. remember this moment. Remember what it is that the beloved is offering to you right now. And I encourage you to bring your awareness back to this moment, giving thanks for this time together. I invite you to prepare your love offerings and your gifts to Unity on Maui. And as you prepare them and hold them, I like to think that when I write this check, it's kind of a sacred gesture for me. You know, it's kind of like I'm sharing part of myself with this ministry, and knowing that in doing so, I truly believe that it opens me up to receiving more. It opens me up to being connected to Spirit. It opens me up to the energy of life and love in the universe. You know, our universe is a give and take kind of energy. And I believe that when I give, it says to my subconscious mind, my conscious mind, my spiritual beingness, that I am a giver. And I believe that we're all here to be givers. And in fact, where would this world be if there weren't givers? So, and I know that when I give, it creates an expansion in me that helps me to receive these truths, to live these truths. And it's kind of like I'm saying to myself, this is important to me. My spiritual path is important to me. So much that I'm willing to give something that means a lot to me to that. So as you hold your gift and giving thanks for it, just to see it moving through this ministry across Maui out into the world, and to see these truths making an impression on your mind, your life, and that truth is reaching out into the world so that we see a world that's filled with love and light and peace and joy. And we see that, you know, I like to think that we are all emissaries of this truth, right? The truth that New Thought churches teach, Unity teaches, Centers for Spiritual Living teach, is about transforming ourselves first and then transforming the world by living these truths, by living love, forgiveness, peace, joy. And so as we give, I believe we're affecting the world in a positive way. So let's hold our gifts, and as we hold them, I invite you to pray and affirm our affirmation, our prayer of prosperity. And let's say it together. Through a grateful, giving heart, my mind and life overflow with the abundance of God's all-providing, infinite supply. And so it is. Namaste. And we'll have to have a moment of silence, unless, Adam, you have anything that comes to your mind you want to say to us in this moment? Well, let's just give thanks for this guy. I am eternally grateful for you and all that you are and all that you bring to this ministry. And thank you. So we're going to have a moment of silence. Usually we have a musician on Sunday morning, but we have a few Sundays now where we don't. So we get to look at each other and behold the musical love in each other. And just be grateful for the fact that we're here, the fact that we're sharing this lifetime together, the fact that Al Cantorna is coming around and gathering our gifts with a huge smile on his face. All right. Uh-oh.
It's not my joke, but you might have heard this one from Amy Semple McPherson, who was an amazing minister. She was sort of like an Oprah and a Deepak and everything rolled into one and back in the 1930s. And one day as they were passing the plate, she says, "Sister's got a headache today, so please, none of that jingling money, just the quiet folding money, please."
Thank you. All right, let's give it out of my hand. Thank you. That was, I put you on the spot there. Thank you for that. So, loving Spirit, thank you for these gifts that have come to us in love. We hold them, we bless them, we give thanks for them, knowing that they're moving through this ministry out into the world. And we behold a world that's filled with love, with light, with joy, and with peace. And so it is. Namaste. Thank you, Al. All right, I got just a couple announcements today. There we go. Our buddy Hafiz. All these images I created today aren't really pictures of Hafiz. They're actually images that I created with AI. And I'm just really quite amazed at the technology and the fun. I used to have to take things from Google. And there's always a little bit of fear that I might be using something that's copyrighted, right? But all these images that A and I are creating are they're mine, and we created them, and I've had so much fun with them. Emily tells me, "Blaine, you spend too much time on those images." I know, but I'm passionate about it. And it's fun for me to get them to try and create the message and the atmosphere that I'm trying to create. And wouldn't you just love to go to this tavern? I mean, look at the detail in that picture. Isn't that amazing? The pictures on the wall, the lights, the people. Oh, I am amazed. I don't know why I'm telling you that. I'm just telling you that because I'm looking for something to say, for God's sakes. I'm letting the beloved flow. So let's see. Often we have flowers up here. Very active. We have active flowers today. And I know that Hafiz is in the room because he's knocked them over twice. And so I'd like to invite you to bring flowers for some Sunday and put them in a larger, heavier, weighted vase. And if you do so, there's a sign-up sheet back there. Put your name on that, pick a date, put your name on that, and tell us what you'd like to celebrate. Somebody's birthday or your birthday or something special, an anniversary, or just the love that you feel. And we'd love to have them up here on Sunday morning. And my Walk Your Talk is a summary of what I talked about today and some of the poems and things that Hafiz said. So that's available in the back. And I put the poems and the words of Hafiz in a scarlet red, right? Like Hafiz's ruby wine. So that's in the back. So take a copy of that on your way out if you like. And next week, I'm doing a talk I'm titling Ernest Shackleton, the Grateful Explorer. Anybody know who he is? He faced the Antarctic's brutal wilderness with an unwavering spirit of gratitude. He took this boat of 30 people into the Antarctica, and they got stuck in the ice. And through his practice of gratitude, most of his, I'm not sure what the numbers are, but I know at least 30 of his crew survived hundreds of days in the Antarctica. And he says that the reason that they survived was because of his practice of gratitude. And so I'm going to share some of his secrets that help them survive and that will help you live abundantly next week. So be here next week at 10 o'clock, and we'll have some fun with that. And so why don't we stand? Does anybody here, before we go any further, feel comfortable starting the peace song? Do you? Okay, good. Okay, so we're going to say the prayer for protection, and then you'll help us sing the peace song. Why don't we form a circle? There you go. That's it. You got it. You can grab somebody's hand if you like. We're just going to set the circle, right? And once everybody's got their hands, and then we're going to say the prayer of protection. And I like to say this with gestures. And so, because I don't have any gestures other than you, and you're not dressed for it today. So let's do it this way with gestures. Okay, let's say the prayer of protection together. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. And the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is.
Where I live,